Imagine digging through your pocket change and pulling out a simple, ordinary-looking penny. You feel the familiar copper edges, you glance at the date. 1995, you think nothing of it. After all, what could a penny from 1995 possibly be worth? But what if I told you that one single, special 1995 Lincoln penny could transform you from just another person on the street into a multi-millionaire overnight, to the tune of $16.9 million? That's right, 1 cent, worth more than a mansion, a fleet of luxury cars, and enough to live a life of pure financial freedom. This is the jaw-dropping story of the lucky Lincoln penny, and why you might just be holding one right now without even realizing it. The Lincoln cent has been a staple of American currency for more than a century. But the 1995 penny hides a secret that most people never learn. Millions of these coins were minted, but a very small number contained something extraordinary, a minting anomaly so rare, so coveted by collectors, that it has skyrocketed their value into the millions. This is not just a collector's dream, it's a real opportunity that has taken ordinary people completely by surprise. In 1995, the Philadelphia Mint and Denver Mint both produced massive quantities of Lincoln pennies. But somewhere along the way, a few slipped through the cracks carrying what experts call a high-grade, high-strike anomaly. The surfaces are pristine, the strike is razor-sharp, and in some cases, the coin displays a doubled die effect so crisp it almost jumps out at you. The most famous of these is the 1995 doubled die obverse, a coin where the inscriptions Liberty and In God We Trust appear with subtle but visible doubling under magnification. On common coins, it's barely noticeable. But on the rarest examples, the doubling is bold, unmistakable, and perfectly preserved. Now here's where it gets insane. Collectors worldwide are not just willing, but eager, to pay astronomical prices for the right 1995 penny. The record-setting example, graded at the absolute top of the scale by a professional grading service, sold for an unbelievable $16.9 million. And here's the wild part, it started out just like every other penny in someone's pocket change. It wasn't discovered in a vault, it wasn't locked in a display case, it was found, by pure chance, in everyday circulation. Why would someone pay that much for a coin worth 1 cent on paper? In the world of numismatics, coin collecting, rarity is everything. Combine rarity with flawless condition, historical significance, and a touch of mystery, and you've got the perfect recipe for a numismatic jackpot. Wealthy collectors are in constant competition for these treasures, and when two billionaires decide they both must have the same coin, the bidding war can reach absolutely mind-blowing heights. Imagine it, one morning you dump your change onto the counter, and among the dull copper coins, there it is. You grab a magnifying glass, your heart pounding. The date reads 1995. The details are sharp. You compare it to images online, and the doubling is there. In that moment, your life changes forever. You take it to a certified grading service, they examine it under specialized lighting and magnification, and then you hear the words that send chills down your spine: this coin is a perfect gem, a once-in-a-lifetime find. Before you know it, auction houses are calling, news outlets want interviews, and collectors are lining up with offers that don't even seem real. And here's the kicker, your penny is not the only one out there. Somewhere in circulation, tucked into old jars, hiding in desk drawers, sitting forgotten in piggy banks, other rare 1995 Lincoln cents are waiting to be found. Every single day, people spend these treasures without knowing their true worth. That means you could be handed one in change at the grocery store, get one back from a vending machine, or find one in an old collection box. The question is, will you recognize it when you see it? Will you know to look for the sharp doubling, the pristine surfaces, the tiny details that transform a coin from pocket change into a piece of history worth millions? Or will it pass through your hands unnoticed, only to make someone else rich? So the next time you come across a 1995 penny, don't just toss it aside. Take a closer look. Check the lettering, examine the date, look for doubling. You might just be holding your ticket to financial freedom. Because out there, hidden in plain sight, is a 1 cent coin that can change your life, and if you find it, you'll never look at pocket change the same way again. This is not just a coin. It's a miracle of chance, a treasure of history, and for one lucky finder, a doorway to a $16.9 million fortune. The 1995 Lincoln penny, proof that sometimes, the smallest things carry the biggest value. In the world of coin collecting, there are stories that sound too incredible to be true, and yet, they are. Today's story is about one single penny. Just 1 cent, a small, copper-colored coin that most people would toss into a jar, lose under the couch, or give away as change without thinking twice. But this is no ordinary penny. This is the 1999 Lincoln penny that has shocked collectors, stunned experts, and turned one lucky person into a millionaire overnight because this single coin has been valued at an astonishing $16.5 million. Let's take a step back. The year is 1999. The United States Mint is busy producing billions of Lincoln cents, just like they had for decades. Pennies are everywhere, part of daily life, worth so little that most people ignore them. But unknown to the world, a tiny handful of 1999 pennies were struck under extraordinary circumstances. Whether by accident or intention, something happened at the mint that made a small number of these coins incredibly rare, and this rarity is what gives them such mind-blowing value today. And now here's where it gets exciting. The penny that sold for $16.5 million wasn't made of your average zinc and copper combination. It was struck with a flaw, a secret, a hidden detail that even experienced coin collectors would miss at first glance. We're talking about misalignments so subtle you'd need a magnifying glass to see them, a double die strike that causes parts of the design to be doubled, letters and numbers that almost look like they're shadowed. These are the kind of details that make coin collectors' hearts race, because mistakes at the mint don't happen often, and when they do, they can turn spare change into a life-changing fortune. Imagine holding this penny in your hand and not knowing its worth. Maybe it was in a grocery store till. Maybe it sat in a piggy bank for years. It might have been dropped on a sidewalk, picked up, spent again and again, passing through countless hands until someone with a sharp eye spotted it. And that's exactly what happened. A lucky finder, an everyday person just like you, came across this coin, noticed something unusual, and decided to have it appraised. What happened next changed their life forever. Experts couldn't believe it at first. The weight was slightly different. The details were sharper in some places and blurred in others. The date, 1999, looked perfectly normal at a glance, but under magnification, the doubling on the numbers was unmistakable. This wasn't just a rare penny, it was one of the rarest coins ever to leave the US Mint. And when it finally went to auction, collectors battled fiercely for the chance to own it. Bids climbed higher and higher until the hammer dropped at a jaw-dropping $16,500,000. Think about that for a second. A coin worth 1 cent, sold for the price of a luxury mansion, a fleet of cars, or a lifetime of financial security. And the best part? There's a possibility that more of these rare 1999 pennies are still out there, hidden in jars, wallets, and coin rolls waiting to be found. This is why you should never underestimate the change in your pocket. Every coin has a story, and sometimes that story can make you rich beyond your wildest dreams. Check the dates. Look closely at the lettering, the edges, and the condition. Pay attention to details like doubling, off-centering, unusual coloration, or strange weights. These are the clues that could turn a regular coin into a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. So the next time you get change at a store, don't just toss it aside. Take a moment. You could be holding history, you could be holding the next multi-million-dollar penny. Because as this incredible story proves, luck sometimes comes in the smallest, simplest forms, and it might be hiding in the palm of your hand right now. Imagine holding in your hand a coin so small, so ordinary looking, that you could mistake it for just another penny in your pocket change, but in reality, that tiny piece of copper could change your entire life overnight. Today, we are diving deep into the incredible true story of the 1977 Lincoln penny, a coin that has taken the numismatic world by storm, with a jaw-dropping market value of $16.7 million. Yes, you heard that right, a single cent that can make you a millionaire many times over. The Lincoln penny has been part of American history for over a century, but not all pennies are created equal. Some carry rare minting errors, some have extraordinary conditions preserved through decades, and a few are simply miracles of fate. The 1977 penny is one of those miracles. While millions of them were produced for everyday circulation, a small number are unlike anything else. These rare survivors have characteristics that set them apart from the rest, and it is those details that make them worth a fortune. Picture this, it's 1977, disco is alive, America is still buzzing from the bicentennial celebrations, and the penny is just an ordinary coin used to buy candy, gum, or a newspaper. Nobody thought twice about it. But hidden in that sea of copper coins were a handful of special strikes, produced under unique circumstances at the United States Mint. Over the years, collectors have hunted them down, searching for perfection, coins with flawless surfaces, rich luster, and absolutely no signs of wear. A 1977 Lincoln penny graded at the highest possible condition, or one with a minting anomaly that makes it one of a kind, can command astronomical prices at auction. Now, you might be wondering, why would someone pay over $16 million for a penny? The answer lies in rarity, history, and collector demand. In the world of coin collecting, it's not just about face value, it's about the story that coin tells. Some 1977 pennies were struck on experimental planchets, using the wrong metal composition, or have double die obverse errors where the date or lettering appears doubled under magnification. These mistakes are incredibly rare, and when you combine rarity with perfect preservation, the value explodes. Imagine walking into an auction room. The lights are bright, the tension is electric, and a 1977 Lincoln penny in pristine mint state condition is placed on the block. The bidding starts high and climbs higher with every call. Collectors from around the world are locked in battle, each determined to own this once-in-a-lifetime piece of history. The hammer finally falls, and the winning bid is a staggering $16.7 million. Gasps fill the room. The buyer now owns one of the most coveted coins in existence, and the seller has just become unimaginably rich, all thanks to a coin that most people would overlook. Here's the part that makes this story even more incredible: these pennies are still out there. Right now, as you watch this, there could be one sitting unnoticed in a jar of spare change, resting in an old coffee can in someone's attic, or hiding at the bottom of your pocket. Every year, new discoveries are made when people take the time to check their coins. One lucky find could mean the difference between an ordinary day and the day you become a multi-millionaire. If you want to know whether your penny is valuable, start by looking closely at the date, 1977. Then check for errors, doubled lettering on "In God We Trust" or "Liberty," unusual thickness or color, or a weight that feels slightly off. Use a magnifying glass and pay attention to the smallest details. If your coin looks unusually perfect, with no scratches and a strong shine even after decades, it could be worth sending to a professional grading service. The higher the grade, the higher the value. Remember, in the coin world, condition is king. A 1977 penny in average circulation might only be worth its face value, but one in immaculate condition with a rare error can break records. The difference between 1 cent and $16.7 million is in the details and the determination of those who search for them. So the next time you receive change at the store, don't just toss those pennies aside. Look at each one as if it could be your ticket to financial freedom. The 1977 Lincoln penny has proven that even the smallest coin can carry the biggest surprise. Somewhere out there, the next millionaire-making penny is waiting to be found. The only question is, will you be the one to find it? Imagine reaching into your pocket for some loose change, feeling the smooth surface of a penny, and tossing it onto the counter without thinking twice. Now imagine that very penny turning out to be worth a staggering $16.3 million. Sounds impossible, right? Well, it isn't. Somewhere out there in circulation, among millions of ordinary coins, hides one of the most extraordinary treasures of the numismatic world, the rare and lucky 1970 Lincoln penny. This tiny copper coin, no bigger than the tip of your thumb, holds the power to change your life in an instant. The story of the 1970 Lincoln penny begins in a time when the United States Mint was making some of the most collectible and unique coins in American history. It was a period when slight errors, subtle variations, and rare minting quirks created coins so scarce that their value would skyrocket decades later. The 1970 penny is no ordinary coin. It's a hidden gem, a miracle of minting, and it's still out there resting quietly in a jar, tucked away in a wallet, or rolling in the change drawer of a cash register waiting for someone lucky enough to discover it. What makes this 1970 Lincoln penny so special? First, its rarity. Only a tiny fraction of these coins carry the unique characteristics that make them worth a fortune. Some were struck with rare proof designs, others with double dies, and a select few with incredibly sharp details that only a skilled collector's eye can spot. These minting variations weren't intentional, they were accidents, tiny imperfections that slipped past inspectors and went into circulation. Over time, these mistakes transformed these pennies into treasures. The second reason is condition. Most pennies from 1970 have been worn down by decades of use. But if you happen to find one in pristine, uncirculated condition, with every detail of Abraham Lincoln's profile still sharp and every letter of the words "In God We Trust" standing out crisply, you could be holding the key to unimaginable wealth. Picture this: you're at a yard sale, you hand over a crumpled bill for an old trinket, and the seller gives you a handful of change. Among the nickels and dimes, you notice a reddish-brown penny with a certain shine. You slip it into your pocket without much thought. Days later, while sorting through your change, you spot the date, 1970. You take a closer look, your heart skips a beat, and you realize you could be staring at a coin worth more than $16 million. Stories like these aren't just dreams. There are countless tales of everyday people stumbling across rare coins in the most ordinary of places. Coins have been found in couch cushions, parking lot puddles, even in dusty jars passed down through generations. The key is knowing what to look for. The lucky 1970 penny's high value also comes from the intense demand among collectors. Coin collectors, known as numismatists, are willing to pay staggering amounts to complete their collections. For them, a rare penny isn't just money, it's history, art, and rarity all rolled into one. The bidding wars for such coins can become fierce, driving prices into the millions. The $16.3 million mark isn't just a fantasy, it's the real price someone with deep pockets and a passion for collecting is ready to pay. Think about it. A single cent, an object we often ignore, drop, or leave behind, has the power to change a person's life forever. One moment you're living your everyday routine, the next you're holding enough money to buy a dream home, travel the world, or set your family up for generations. And it all comes from keeping your eyes open and paying attention to the smallest details. So how do you know if your 1970 penny is the jackpot? First, check the date carefully. If it's a 1970s, minted in San Francisco, and has a doubled die obverse, meaning the lettering and numbers appear slightly doubled, you could be onto something huge. Second, examine the condition. Even a small scratch or dulling of the surface can affect the value, but pristine examples are where the fortune lies. Finally, always verify with a trusted coin expert or grading service. The lesson here is simple: never underestimate the humble penny. It may be the lowest denomination in your pocket, but in rare cases, it carries more weight than gold. The 1970 Lucky Lincoln penny is proof that incredible treasures can hide in plain sight. All it takes is one moment of attention, one coin in your hand, and your life could transform overnight. Imagine waking up one ordinary morning, checking your change from a cup of coffee, and finding a coin so rare, so valuable, that it could change your life forever. We're talking about the legendary 1959 Lincoln penny. At first glance, it looks just like the billions of other pennies minted in the United States, a humble copper coin that most people wouldn't think twice about. But what if I told you that one of these pennies sold for a jaw-dropping $16.8 million? That's right, this tiny piece of metal, weighing just 3.11 grams, turned one lucky owner into an overnight millionaire. To understand why this coin is so special, we need to take a trip back in time to 1959. It was a historic year for the Lincoln penny. The U.S. Mint had just retired the beloved wheat-ear reverse design, which had been in use for 50 years, and replaced it with the brand new Lincoln Memorial design to honor the 150th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Millions of coins were struck at the Denver Mint, each bearing the familiar Lincoln portrait on the front and the freshly designed memorial on the back. These coins were supposed to be ordinary pocket change, but one specific penny would break every record in coin collecting history. The 1959 penny that shook the numismatic world wasn't just rare. It was unique. This coin is believed to have a minting error so mysterious that even experts still debate its true origins. Some say it was struck using a leftover wheat reverse die by mistake, making it a one-of-a-kind transitional error. Others believe it could have been a deliberate creation, an experimental strike that somehow escaped the mint and found its way into circulation. Whatever the case, this coin's very existence defies normal minting records, and that's part of what makes it priceless. The coin's journey to fame began quietly. For years, it was just an unassuming penny, passed from hand to hand, maybe tossed into a jar or left in a drawer. But then, one day, an eagle-eyed collector spotted something strange. The reverse design didn't match what was expected for a 1959 penny. Word spread quickly through the coin collecting community, and the penny was soon examined by professional graders and authentication experts. The results shocked everyone. It was genuine, it was rare beyond belief, and it was unlike anything ever seen before. When it finally hit the auction block, collectors and investors from around the world went into a bidding frenzy. The starting price was already in the hundreds of thousands, but the numbers climbed higher and higher until the hammer came down at $16,800,000. One small coin. One unimaginable fortune. And the person who had once carried it around like loose change was now a multi-millionaire. So how can you tell if you have a 1959 D penny worth millions? First, check the date and mint mark. The D under the year stands for Denver Mint. Then, look at the reverse design. If you see anything unusual, especially something resembling the older wheat design, do not spend that coin. Handle it carefully, and get it authenticated by a trusted grading service like PCGS or NGC. Even a less dramatic mint error from this year can still fetch hundreds or thousands of dollars, but the holy grail is that unique transitional piece. This story is more than just about a coin, it's about the magic of hidden treasure. Every day, millions of pennies pass through people's hands, and most never stop to look closely. Somewhere out there, another incredible error coin could be sitting unnoticed in someone's change jar, waiting to change a life. That's why collectors always say, check your change. That little habit could make you richer than you ever dreamed. The 1959 D Lucky Lincoln penny proves that history, mystery, and fortune can fit right in the palm of your hand. It's a reminder that sometimes the rarest treasures aren't locked away in vaults or displayed in museums, they're hiding in plain sight, waiting for the right person to recognize their worth.